But okay, so you quit in a rage of fury. No more fiat, no more central bank. You storm out of there, make a scene. Everyone's talking about it still to this day. Then
Partly true, actually. Yeah.
what do you do after that?
I did not go quietly. No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so it was
Oh,
kind of a it was a bit of a thing at the time. Yeah, I think I sometimes still come back because I have a lot of friends still at the central bank, right? And sometimes at like parties or drinks or whatever, this thing comes up about this. Do you know this like ex-employee who was doing crypto and then they left and like they went on podcasts and whatever, and like they don't realize it's me. So like the story for some reason is still going around quite often. So I'm still identified by story rather than by name, luckily.
nice.
But yeah, no, I kind of went out on good terms. I still like most people there. But yeah, anyway, so stopped working for the central bank. At that time, I didn't leave with the idea of I'll set something up myself. I was just like, okay, we'll see what happens. There's a lot of interesting stuff in the world. I was writing a lot about crypto and sort of just active in the different communities, mostly Nano. Um, and just I was like, we'll see. And then late 2022, ChatGPT comes out while we're in Valencia. I remember because we were flying back from Valencia and we were there with some friends. And I was just obsessed because it had come out that day and I was just on my phone the entire time and like showing it to my friends. And they're like, man, you're being such a geek. Like it's just this bot. It's just like, it's not a replacement for anything, man. It's not a friend. It's what, and I was obsessed. So afterwards, at the time to get access to the best models, you needed the subscription. Like right now, you also have like free tiers on most providers. At the time, you needed a subscription. And I was like, okay, that's terrible. We want everyone to have access to the top models, even if they're like closed source or open source. Like, we want everyone to be able to try it out. So I just figured, okay, I'll ask ChatGPT to start helping me make like a Telegram bot where people can deposit a little bit of crypto, Nano only at the time, and then they can like send a few messages to ChatGPT and like experience the magic of having this genius. So yeah, I set up this Telegram bot and just as a bit of fun, like as a hobby. I didn't know anything about coding or development or whatever. The bot started getting some traction. At the time, actually, one of the early users was Eric Voorhees, who then went on to also set up like his own Venice, obviously. But yeah, so my co-founder, Huggy, he reached out to me at one point on Twitter because he was also in the Nano community. We'd never met or anything, just he was also in the community. He reached out and he was like, man, the Telegram bot is cool, but I think most people would prefer a website. So I have some experience building a website. You have this. Maybe we get together and we just try it out and see how it goes. And yeah, that was the origin story of NanoGPT. At the time, I was a girl on Twitter for reasons. I was anonymous, and he had like a monkey profile picture, and we never even had a clue what the other person's actual name was or face until like months later when we had to do a call with some other company. And we're like, man, maybe we should like have a face to face before we do this because we have no clue. Like, I have no clue what you're called. Um, so yeah, we started building up NanoGPT, and at the start it was very simple, and then it kept growing and growing and growing. And it started with just one model, one coin. Nowadays, it's essentially the sort of short story of it is you have access to every AI model you can think of: text, images, video, all kinds of AI tools. Literally anything you can think of, we have it. And you can access them in a private way. We don't ask for any of your information. You can pay in crypto. You can stay completely anonymous, and you can just use everything that you like, all of the models. We thought it would be mostly interesting to like privacy-minded individuals. Turns out companies also quite like it, businesses, because you have one, like we also have an API, for those who know what that is. So for companies, it's very easy. They have one integration, centralized billing, and like their marketing department can use the video models from, say, Google. Their developers can use the latest Claude model, and they can use like open source models whenever they feel like it. So yeah, nowadays we're sort of aimed at individuals who care about their privacy, or just developers in general, but also businesses. And yeah, we accept pretty much every coin there is. We're expanding the number of coins thanks to THORChain as well. So yeah, that's the short story of
It's
NanoGPT.
awesome. It's awesome. And because this is your time, I think you were recently affected by the Fable 5 situation. Maybe you want to just give a quick rundown. Like that's no longer available on just because of the sanction, correct?
Correct. So middle of the night this time, or like Spain time, where I am currently. I think it was like 2 a.m. Claude just suddenly pulled Fable access for everyone, like no warning whatsoever. I don't think anyone got a warning. Everyone we've spoken to just had it suddenly pulled as well, including us, sadly. So I think the current state of affairs is that no one has access except for inside Anthropic themselves. And the longer term thinking is that it might only be available to people in the US or companies in the US. It's completely unclear how that is going to work. We have no clue. I don't think anyone has a clue at this point. It's a fantastic model. So I would love to have it back as quickly as possible. And it was like, it immediately became the most used model on our service as well. So I know that users would like to have it back. But yeah, if I had any more information, I would gladly share. But we're just in the dark as everyone else.
Yeah, just want to share that. Go ahead, Kenton.
So NanoGPT is like an AI aggregator. Like you guys
Yes.
you're not running any models yourself. You connect to all the different AI platforms out there.
Correct. So at this point, I think we have like 87 providers integrated off the top of my
Holy
head,
holy
which is,
smokes! There 87 out there?
yeah, there are so many providers. So you have all of the closed source ones. So let's say Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, XAI, whatever. But then you also have the sort of hyperscalers. So Amazon Web Services, Azure, Google Vertex, all of those also run models. And we want to use all of them to get the best stability, essentially, for the user. So let's say Anthropic goes down, then Amazon Web Services also still has the model available. Not in the case of Fable, obviously, which like every one of them pulled. But if Anthropic has an issue with their servers, then through us, you can still keep using it because we also route to AWS, to Azure, to like all of the different hosters that there are for the models. And then for open source, there are infinite providers for all of these open source models. And we integrate all of them again just for stability, but also to give the user choice. Like sometimes users want to use only European providers, for example. Well, you can do that. We also have TEE models, trusted execution environment, which is models where we can like verify what model the provider is running and actually verify the code on their server. So we know for sure that there's no logging. So essentially there's little downside to us to integrating more different providers. It also like helps us get discounts and better deals because we can kind of just pick whatever offers us the best at any point. So yeah, tons of different providers. I think any provider and model you can name, literally we have it. So
And
So
so you oh, go ahead, Denny.
I'm sorry. Well, Kenton, I was actually going to talk about you because when I was at the Bitcoin Las Vegas, I met these boys. You know, they were at the party. I didn't interact with you as much at the party. That's a shame because there was more people there, and I just didn't happen to talk to you that much. But I was standing there with Mark Mason, Joel from Dash, and when I asked them, what is it? What does Nano do? Their explanation made me think of you, Kenton, because your big thing that you're so passionate about, and I'm also passionate about, is like banking the unbanked, giving people, anyone in the world, sovereignty over their finances and allowing them access to live a better life. And the thing that I really like about Nano was, with AI aggregator, a lot of these things are behind a wall. They're gated. They require KYC. There's there's geofencing around some of these things. And with Nano, they allow anyone in the world to have access to these powerful AI tools that otherwise would be unavailable to them. And correct me if I'm wrong, Milan, you offer it like at the similar price because again, you give a discount because you are an AI aggregator. Is that correct?
correct. Yeah. So I think especially if you use via API, in almost every case, we are as cheap or cheaper as using providers directly. Usually it's a bit of a discount as well, just because let's say a model like GLM5, GLM 5.1, the top open source models, the creators of the model run it themselves, but then open source providers start running it and start like optimizing it, and they get it to run even cheaper. So then we can also offer it cheaper again. But yeah, what you
Beautiful.
were saying, actually, the sort of giving everyone access, still one of my favorite stories, and this is from super early on, was this random guy in Kenya who messaged saying that he got medical advice from our service. And I'm like, man, I these are like 2 years ago models. I'm like, I don't know if you should trust this, man. And he's like, yeah, but like my alternative is a shaman in my village.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Don't get you started on doctors. They're worse than central bankers. So he's probably good.
exactly.
Yeah.
But so his alternative was paying $20 a month, I think, at the time for the subscription, which would give access to like the top model. But he just had a few medical questions. So I think he literally deposited like 50 cents or even less. In Nano, I think that was the only thing we accepted at the time. And started asking his question. He's like, this is great. So yeah, the story of trying to give everyone as easy access to all of these models as possible, like it makes us super happy. Like the businesses are better for business, but the individuals make us the happiest, just to know. Like, we got an email earlier today from a guy, I won't share his name, but like just a page full of him being grateful for what we built in our like support inbox. And I'm like, man, it just makes your week anytime someone's like happy with what you've built. So yeah.
I,
So like,
that,
you know how, like, you guys know what neobanks are, right? They, so it's like a bank, a virtual bank on top of a bank, and then they can like go do stuff, whatever. They're like, but then they're always getting shut down. And because the bank that they're sitting on top of doesn't like what they're doing or whatever, and you know, rug pulls them. And so, like, I'm curious, do you guys run that risk that you're like a neo AI that like you have the main platforms underneath? Can they come back and be like, well, we have our geofencing, we do our KYC, but you're not doing that, so now we're gonna stop supporting you. Like, or they know what you're doing, they're cool with it, they don't care as long as you pay the subscription.
Yeah.
Um,
So we don't even pay the subscription. It's like API, so we pay for every call that we do. So for most of these big providers, subscriptions make a loss for them. Like it's a sort of loss leader to get people into their sort of models, and then the API is where they make their money because they can just price it at like whatever their cost is plus a markup. We use the API because you're not allowed to split a subscription many ways, which makes sense. So we use the API. So all of the providers, as far as we know, are very happy with us because we are where they get profit from, essentially. We sometimes talk about this as well because in the long term, it could be that one of the providers goes like, we do not want this to happen anymore. We want to like have full control ourselves over like just serving the models only to our customers directly. Could be the case. I think our thinking is it's kind of their loss maybe at that point because we are still going to be able to offer all of the other models except their one. And then it's like, okay, yeah, I think you're just losing out on revenue here. You're losing out on profit here. It could definitely happen. But that's also why we try to have resilience in terms of using many different providers, having backups for everything. So even, for example, OpenAI models, you run them via OpenAI, but also via Azure. You have Azure US, you have Azure Europe. So yeah, we try to be as resilient as we can, but it could happen. It could happen that they try to cut off our access. That is a risk. There's just very little incentive for them to do so, I think.
yeah, but they know what you're doing, and
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like they understand. It's not like you're kind of
No.
walking the line and kind of like, well, you know, if we don't what's that phrase, like don't say don't tell or whatever, like
Yeah.
just
No, so
everyone
with
keep their
most,
mouth
we have
shut.
like direct communication,
Okay.
almost every provider. So that's also usually when a new model comes out, we tend to have it online within like a few minutes or an hour, because in many cases we get sort of early warning, like this is coming, get ready. These are some of the specs. This is the pricing. So no, they know about us. We're probably not the biggest user that they have, but we're a big enough user that it's noticeable for most of them. And I think there are also services where they do the like one subscription and split it between many people. I can imagine that those are more at risk of being killed off because like that is just pure loss for all of the AI companies. But what we do is like just using the API. So yeah.
So if someone's using your platform do they have to go select the model they want to use, or they just type in whatever and then your platform decides which model to send the query to?
Yeah, so we have different options. So we're all about options, essentially. I think most in crypto kind of appreciate like you want to give people the choice to do whatever they want to do. We kind of think the same way. So you can select the model that you want to use. So let's say you heard about Claude Fable and you want to try it. Well, like hopefully soon again, you just type Fable and you select Fable. Or right now, the top model, probably GPT 5.5, you can select it. We also have the auto model, which just you type something and we decide, okay, this is a programming question. This model is the best at programming, so we're going to route it to this model. This question is about Chinese, so we're going to route it to this model. So that kind of takes the thinking about what model to use out of the way. So we have auto model, which is just for standard text queries. We also have a coding router where you can sort of specify. I quite like the idea of this. You can specify how smart the model needs to be, and then we'll route it to the cheapest model at that intelligence. So you have all of these benchmarks. Like they're released every time a model comes out, they show how they do on the benchmarks. And you keep seeing these scores climb up. But also the prices keep going up. So sometimes people just care about, I want to be able to have this intelligence and see it get cheaper over time. So you can use the coding router medium, let's say, and then it picks whatever model scores above 50 and then just picks the cheapest one. So yeah, auto model, coding router, we have for OpenClaw, we have like, I think we call it Claw router or Auto Claw or something, and it picks the model that works best with OpenClaw. So we kind of try to take the sort of complications out of it for most people, but then we also still want people to be able to select whatever they want to use themselves. So yeah, you have both options essentially is what I'm saying.
That's pretty cool because I saw someone post on Twitter that using Opus 4.8 to rename a file, and it's like, I do it too. Like I'm like, man, how many times am I doing stuff here that I'm like, I really don't need the the top model to run these prompts, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it'd be cool to use a platform like yours that, you know, like, so is your platform smart enough to know then if I'm using a pretty basic prompt that, okay, it'll go down to a lower intelligence level, save me some money?
Yeah,
Or do
yeah.
I still have to select? It is doing that. It is thinking about that.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you use one of those auto models, it does.
Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially, what we do on our end is it runs, I think, right now on Gemini Flash because it's a super fast model. So if you use the auto model, it sends a prompt first to Gemini Flash and asks it to classify it in terms of what sort of query is this. Like it has, I think, 20 categories it can use. Then in the background, we have like the benchmarks. So it automatically checks like, okay, for this query, these are the top models on the benchmarks. And then it also says how difficult the prompt is. And then it decides like, okay, given that it's this difficult and it's programming, you're fine with, I don't know, DeepSeek or something, which is cheap. So yeah,
That's
that's,
that's pretty cool. So then I guess it also does rest on the user too, because if I'm an idiot and I'm like doing spelling mistakes in the prompt and I have bad grammar and I'm not formulating my question properly, that could kick me up into maybe a higher cost me more because the AI has to think harder about it. But if I am clear and direct and simple, that should give me some cost savings, right? Is that how it works? Yeah.
I I'm not sure how difficult the AIs find it to actually figure out what you mean because when I talk to them, I'm just like, ah, okay, go. Like I use something called I think Super Whisper, so I just like do a speech to text, and there's like endless mistakes in there, and it still seems to figure it out fine. Maybe it
Huh?
costs a few extra like thinking tokens on its end, so maybe you're right that it like adds some extra cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's sort of I try not to over optimize in that sense. I'm like, okay, voice is much quicker and I need to get this work done. It depends what you use it for, I think. Like if it's for work, like for building NanoGPT, right? Then we try not to save on cost because everything is super important to us. But if I'm going to ask about the capital of Paris or like the capital of France, Paris, then yeah, I'm not going to want to use the very top model. So then I'm happy that the auto model routes to something cheap and easy, essentially.